Hello, everybody. You awake? Yeah, I'm going to tell why Christian still has a job. And me also. So, can we have the PDF? Because I broke my computer in Tokyo last weekend. I had a 30-minute presentation. I couldn't shorten it, so you will have it very fast, basically. So I will shorten it as we go. So Christian pretty much told about the thinking behind our lab and our new business department. I will tell a little bit about the weird strategy that the OP Financial Group has, and also some ideas in the fact that how we have managed these 2 years. We are a pretty traditional bank, roughly 1 billion euros of profit, and we see a huge disruption coming to us. So we changed our strategy in let's say 2 years ago, and we started to look at the options. And we decided that maybe we are not going to take the obvious path, like digitalizing the bank and becoming more efficient and so on. But we decided to invest 2 billion in transforming the company as a whole and becoming a diversified service company. And what does it actually mean? Is that we want to become like a really different kind of animal in this financial sector. We want to follow our customers in the different areas, whether it's the health and well-being, whether it's the mobility, housing, entrepreneurial services. And as we have been really local in Finnish market, we want to also expand in certain areas internationally. So find some spearhead areas where we can go even further. And this really opened up some opportunities for us also in the new business part. For example, we have started to build hospitals in Finland. We already have 4 hospitals, and there's still 1 more to come in a really short time. And there is real synergies between the hospital business and our insurance business. We can make our customers a lot more happy because they get healthy faster, and we end up paying less money to the hospitals and so on. So there are new things that are coming to us. But for us, I think the most interesting thing has been the opportunity to build this lab thing, although we have said that, well, maybe sometimes labs work, sometimes not. But we believe that maybe the CFO is right. Maybe we need to make an impact. When you start a lab, you're already late because they are starting to wait for the results. They want to see the results in 2 years' time. And if you don't show them, it's over. We've seen it happen. I've seen it happen before. So we decided that we need to make the results in 2 years' time. We started with roughly 30 to 40 people. In 1 year's time, we grew to 150 and decided that, well, this is pretty much the size that we want to be. We don't want to grow more because it's getting too expensive. If we are smaller, then we don't make the impact. We open up new spaces in Tampere. It's a smaller city. In Finland, in Helsinki, which is the capital of Helsinki. But in the beginning, we had a good team already in Oulu. Christian had already built before. So all the places where we are present are starting to grow. But then, when it comes to talent, we attracted talent that were already entrepreneurs. They had sold their company even maybe once, twice, even 3 times sometimes. So they had built it themselves. And our sweet spot was to find the people that doesn't want to maybe take their own risk anymore. They don't want to travel the world selling their idea, but they want to work with these interesting concepts and businesses in that setting. A little bit less risk from them, but they get to do the same work for us. So we found that kind of people, and they brought talent in because the talented people want to follow the talented people, and if they are more experienced, then the leaders are more experienced, then they will learn even more. So that's what we started to build, and we managed to do it quite well in the beginning. And what does this brought to us? It improved our employee image. In the business student side, we were number 3 in the 2017 measurement of Universion. But the biggest shift came from the IT part. We used to be in the position number 31, but now we ended up in 15. So we improved quite a lot in the tech part, our employee image. Another thing that happened, PCG did a study about internal ventures and companies in the Nordics, and they said that the Nordic companies are pretty good in cutting costs and improving their businesses, but really bad in making internal growth or internal startups, so to say. But they mentioned us as a bank as a difference or like an exception of those. So we saw that in 2 years' time we managed to even have this kind of impact happening. And this is a cliche. We follow the startup methods. But we followed it in a way that when we start things, we work in a really lean way. But then we bring them to the real business processes. And we are even organized in a way that we have the Christian's Lab that is creating the early stage innovation. But then we have the true business lines that we want to build ourselves. It's not integrated anywhere in the beginning. We believe that we need to keep them at least 3 to 5 years. We need to grow them as a separate to be big enough so that they can live in the hard world and they can be prioritized also in the bigger businesses. I'm not even worried if they want to take them in the future. They will when they are big enough. And we are quite good in killing stuff. We have started roughly 40 projects. We have killed half of them. How we do it, if the money runs out, they don't continue. So we are trying to follow the startup methodology in a way. So we give a little angel money in the beginning. They need to convince us that they can prove us that they can really solve a problem. Then they need to get the customers, they need to get some cash flow, they get some more money. And if they manage to do that, they get to the scale-up phase, they get more money. But if they don't, then the money runs out and the party's over. So this is kind of the logic behind. So let's go fast. We started 40 projects. We really want to push them to the market. It's not only killing stuff, but it's also launching stuff. We are pretty eager to get things done. So if in last year we launched 40 different things, it means that we launch almost every week. So almost every week we are launching something, whether it's bigger things or smaller things, but we need to get things to the market. Another thing is to have the speed. If you don't have the speed, you don't make the change. When we started, we had projects. There's, by the way, a weird way of naming the projects, where they're all named after beer labels, whether it's a Finnish beer or some international stuff, but they're all beer labels. I don't know why. But in the beginning, when we started, we had projects that lasted over 1 year, even 2 years. Then we went further. We cut down the cycle to less than 1 year. In the recent times, the projects have been running around half a year, but the previous ones that we have done have been like 4 months or even 3 months. Our record is now 3 months from idea to launch, and there was the holiday season between, so actually 2 months of active time of working. So really pushing forward the go-to-market time. And if we look at the profitability of the projects, the fastest project is profitable in the first year. The second fastest project is profitable in the first year. The other ones are suffering. So it will take, let's say, 3-4 years to make them break even, because in a corporate environment, the development is always really expensive. You end up paying too much, you end up having the depreciation afterwards with the expensive development cost and so on. So the faster you get to the market, the more likely you are to make the profits early on. Then another thing, we don't want to limit our tool set into some areas, like we do accelerators or we do investments. We do everything, whatever works. We started with experimenting a little bit in an accelerator scene. We went to London with the Accenture FinTech Lab. Then we opened up Plug and Play in Silicon Valley to see what's happening there. We are now here to understand what's happening in Southeast Asia a little bit more. But then we have our own partnerships. We are partnering really widely with different companies, whether they are local or they are global. And then we do investments and small acquisitions. There are some companies that we have invested in or worked with or did acquisitions. Then we have our own startup labs, like startup programs. And if you look at the titles that we have done already, it's mobility, it's health, it's commerce, it's living. They are the areas that are important for our strategy. And now we have the open banking just going on because we are a financial services company. So we have run over 500 startups or met them in our programs. They are in the interest areas of our strategy. And we tend to try to work with them in a real world. So now with those 500 startups, we have 7 active projects going on. But we also want to build something on top of the current businesses. So We have roughly 10% of our profits coming from car loans and insurance business. And in let's say a little bit more than 1 year, we have started several different businesses aside from our core businesses that link to the mobility scene, for example. We brought Drive Now car sharing business to Finland. It's a German company owned by BMW and Sixt. Actually, BMW just bought Sixt out, but they have launched this in 9 countries, in 13 cities in Europe, and Helsinki is one of them, and we are operating it. Quite weird thing to do for a bank. We have launched a car rental service together with Europcar, and we have a long-term electric car vehicle rental service. So pretty much building new types of services when it comes to mobility, because we want to see what's happening in this area, and we might be affected quite a lot in the future with the disruption also in here. So we already have well, now it's 17,000 registrations with the Drive Now, and we are building new kinds of services in the mobile field also, with some of the startups that have been in our projects, or programs like Orbi is an Italian company that's worked in the mobility as a service sphere. We have launched a pilot with them just recently. We are developing services for the car owners. And we are developing also car sharing services for municipalities or cities or companies. So new kinds of corporate offering for finance service industry. We work quite a lot in a little bit more traditional field of commerce. We have PSP for us. We have a mobile wallet, but we want to build them to be more unique, more extensive services in this field. And here we have done also some investments. We do chatbots in the commerce scene. We built this pizza robot for this biggest pizza chain in Finland. You can order pizza from our pizza bot and pay with our mobile service. We did the first charity chatbot in Finland for this charity foundation and so on. So we want to be the leading also in the development. We are building the gas filling app for big gas chain in the Nordics, and we handle the payment part of that. So mobile payments, cashless payments, really core for banks. We built cashless festivals in Finland, so handle everything for the festival to make this happen and change the way people pay in this sphere. And then we help the entrepreneurs. This is one case that we did. We established the business ID, take care of the billing, take care of the accounting for starting entrepreneurs. So wide scale development agenda. New living services, whether it's the marketplaces for services for homes, whether it's helping our customers to sell their apartments. We even built a forest owner service where you can see your own forest wealth measured in a real time basically, and also experimenting in the areas that are interesting for the insurance industry. So building digital insurance company that is purely in the online and mobile world. So I think we need to develop quite a lot of stuff, and you have to do it fast. When we started in 2016, basically in the beginning of that, we were growing like 20% a year. Now last year we grew like 100%, and now we are aiming for 300% growth this year. And this is to show to the CFOs that want to kill your labs. You really need to have things coming out to the market fast, and you really need to see the figures, because this is the same thing as the startups needs to show to their investors. If you cannot show it, then it's going to be tough. So pretty much all the businesses are growing at the moment, but there's still quite a lot of things to do. You have to have fun doing it, and you have to get a couple of awards for the good work. That's the story. Yeah, and Christian could have presented this, but I had to do it. So.
Thank you.